Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 423. It's mid-June. I'm glad you're here. This is Phil Graham, and today I'm going to be talking about why your Facebook and Instagram ad testing may not be working. So maybe you either are not testing at all, which would be crazy, but a lot of people are in that boat, or you're trying to test, but it's not really giving you clear answers with your ads. And so you're not sure why things are happening. A lot of people know that something is working or something's not, but very few know why. I want you to know, if that's you, you're not alone. I see so many advertisers wasting time and wasting money, either testing the wrong things, not testing, or testing in the wrong way or at the wrong time. So when you're testing your ads, it shouldn't be about throwing something against the wall and just seeing what sticks. It should be learning with a purpose, with the right strategy in mind. It should not be a guessing game. Too many advertisers run it like a guessing game and just randomly do everything, which causes a lot of problems for a lot of advertisers. So today I want to share some tips that can hopefully help you guys with your ad testing, because that can be a game changer for many advertisers. Now, before we dive in, if you guys are looking for some help with your ads, with your marketing, or with AI, and you really want somebody to help you through it, whether it's through one-on-one coaching and consulting, which I think is the best way in the world to learn, or you don't want any of that, you just want somebody to do it for you. That's another great option too. For either one of those things, let's connect. You can go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. I would love to connect with you. So let's jump in. I want to share 4 mistakes people make when it comes to ad testing. And again, if you're making these mistakes, it could potentially really be costing you time and or money. Mistake number 1, this is so common, that is testing too many variables at once. So for example, let's say you've got a couple different ads running. Let's say you have 2 ads running and they have different everything, 2 different audiences, 2 different images or videos, different versions of ad copy. Maybe, some people put all the AI copy in there too. So there's like 5 different versions of ad copy. It's a complete mess. No matter what happens, you're not going to know why it happened. You're not going to know what caused it to either be bad or good at all. And that is a problem. That is not good. So you want to make sure that when you are testing with your ads, you test with one variable only at a time. That means you're testing one thing at a time between 2 ads. Now, you can test 10 different things at once if you have a bunch of different ads running. Remember, for every one thing you're testing, there's going to be 2 ads. So for example, what does that look like? Let's say you wanted to test a video versus a different video, 2 different videos. I would create an ad that had the same audience, so 2 ad sets. The audience would be exactly the same. The headline would be exactly the same, and the ad copy would be exactly the same. And the budget would be the same. The only difference would just be video 1 versus video 2. Everything else would be identical. That way, no matter what happens, the video was the only difference between those 2 ads. And you can learn and get better from it. Too many people are either not testing or they're using way too many variables, so they're completely flying blind. You don't want that to be you. Mistake number 2 is testing before you really have a baseline. So let's say that you're either new with your ads or you've just been randomly running ads for a long time, but not successfully or highly skillful. Then how can you really test if you don't even know what normal looks like for you yet? Especially if you're new. So for example, let's say you launch an ad and you get like 24 clicks and you compare it to something else. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not enough of a baseline to go off of. There's no magic number that I can tell you without knowing you personally and looking at your account. But in general, if I were to have to give a general number, I would be looking at like 500 plus clicks from an ad before I had some kind of a baseline. And then I would start testing based off of that. Too many people test without a baseline at all, or with a baseline that's way too small. Mistake number 3. Oh my gosh, this is probably the most common besides just the overall of not testing skillfully or effectively. But within that, this mistake is big. And that is cutting your ad tests way too soon. It happens all the time. And I get why it happens, because you're spending money and you've got the emotion of that built into it. Here's the thing. There are so many advertisers that will run an ad and just kill it after a day or two. You know, it hasn't even exited the learning phase. You haven't even gotten 50 clicks or 200 clicks on there, and you're already determining that it's no good. That's crazy. I can literally show you data of an ad that did horrible for like the first 4 days. And then within a couple of weeks, it turned out to be one of the best ads we've ever run for a particular client because I let it run. So don't be that person. Don't be that advertiser that turns things off way too soon. The challenging part is I can't tell you how long to let it run without knowing your account, without knowing a lot of different factors, because there's lots of variables. But again, if I had to give a general estimate, I would say unless you have a really large budget, I recommend letting it run for at least a couple weeks. Try and get like 500 clicks or more, and that might be the right time to cut it if it's not doing well. It may not. There are times I'll let it run longer based off of what I see. But again, that goes back to individual situations. So just keep that in mind. But please don't let ads run for like a day and just kill them unless you have a huge budget, because that's probably going to be a mistake. There are exceptions. So it's important to keep an eye on your data. And the last mistake today is ignoring frequency and creative fatigue with your data. Creative fatigue can absolutely skew your data. And I'll give you a quick example. Imagine you were advertising to a relatively small audience. Let's just say like 20,000 people. And let's say you had a really good budget on there of like $50 a day. Well, pretty quickly, you're going to kind of go through most of that audience. And so let's say it does really good for a few weeks. It crushes it. It's your best ad ever. And then after a few weeks, it starts doing horrible. Well, maybe people have seen it like 10 times. In that case, I could see why it's maybe not doing so good. And that could skew the data. That can skew your results because maybe you didn't pay attention to the creative fatigue or the frequency. Now, I will say that sometimes it'll say creative fatigue and or the frequency will be high, and an ad will still do really well, in which case I will let it keep running because of that. But a lot of times when frequency is up and there's a lot of fatigue in there, that can cause an ad to do really bad, even though it started off great. So it's something you want to pay attention to. When this happens, you want to, if you're keeping the same audience, rotate in some fresh hooks, some fresh creatives, a different video, different image, maybe some different ad copy, and that will help with the situation. You can also try changing the audience as well. You can do all of those things, but you've got to pay attention to creative fatigue and frequency. So to summarize, when you're testing your ads, it's not about throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks. It's about learning and doing it strategically with a purpose and with the right strategy. So make sure you guys are not only testing, but you're testing in the right way. So it's not just a guessing game with your ads. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. I hope that was helpful. If you guys have questions, let me know. philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. Let's connect. Otherwise, episode 423 is in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will talk to you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.